Hey, Stephanie Ferrara, your Empowered Creativity Coach, and I'm so glad to be back here with you today. As a Christ-centered business branding coach, I help women entrepreneurs who are in the early stages of their business or ready to grow their business. I help them identify their most lucrative niche and build a brand around that ideal customer that just attracts them in like a magnet. When you do that, you know you are speaking directly to the people who are ready to buy, they're ready to do business with you, and you have something they need. And most importantly, you have something they want. Because so many people we know buy based on what they want versus what they need. They will forego something they need to go buy something they want. So I love to help my customers figure out what that story is about their business that they need to tell so that they can help those customers find them, so that they can help those ideal people, those ideal clients, put in the right words into the search and find them so that they can help them and have more impact in this world than what they have right now. And I know that so many of you are already making a big impact, and that's fantastic. Well, if we narrow down that niche even more, surprisingly, you'll have even more impact. As you know, I enjoy so much getting to talk to other women business owners and find out their story around their business to figure out what was it that made them decide to take that risk. Because you all know going into business for yourself is a big risk. There are so many unknowns. So what is it that makes us tick as women entrepreneurs, and what makes us keep pushing even through the tough times? I love, love, love to interview other women business owners and find out their story. It just thrills me to hear what they've gone through, why they are doing it, what is that reason they are doing it, because it's just so heartwarming to hear why a woman takes that huge risk to go into business.
Well, I'm so excited to introduce Tasha Moore to you. She started her company, Tasha Teaches Spanish, and I just knew I needed to get her on because I wanted to learn more about why she started her company and what she's got going on. So, welcome, Tasha. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hola, Stephanie. Hola a todos. Hey, Stephanie, and hey, everybody. So I am Latasha Moore. Tasha Teaches Spanish. I started the business in June of 2018, and I've been going ever since. So it's had its ups and its downs, but I'm hanging in there. I am a wife. My husband, Corey Coleman, works in IT. I'm a mom to a 1.5 approximately year old, Kari, and I work at the Mexican consulate part-time and working in immigrant health. And I'm currently going to school at UCA to get my master's in Spanish so I can also be a college instructor.
That's really awesome. See, I learned something new. I didn't realize that you also worked at the consulate.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
that's pretty cool. So when did you decide? I know you said you started it last in June 2018. When did you decide? Because I know for me, like I decided before, like years before I actually started, right? So when did you
Mhm.
decide to start Tasha Teaches Spanish? And was there a defining moment around that?
No, there's no big grand story. It was simply I had just ended my time. I'm teaching at a charter school as their Spanish teacher. I was
Hmm.
pregnant with our son, so I was home, didn't have a job, and this is a month before I had him because I had him in July. And divine intervention, God, the thought came to mind. Hey, put on Facebook that you'll tutor Spanish. And I'm thinking to myself, who wants that? Who cares? Ooh, you'll tutor Spanish. But the thought came, and I made a very, very ugly flyer. Now that I'm a little better with making flyers, I realized how ugly it was. But I made a very ugly flyer, and I put it up, and it got like 200 likes, and I got calls, and I got some texts, and I really
Wow.
did not realize there was a need or desire for it. Um, so that was kind of what got me rolling. And at first, I didn't take myself seriously at all. I was just like, yeah, I'll just teach a little Spanish on the side, or do a lesson here, a lesson there. I didn't have set lesson topics or PowerPoints made, or I would just kind of do it as I could. But I started taking things a lot more seriously once my husband and I talked, and he liked the idea of me really going for it full time, because I was at home with our son for about a year. So by maybe 5 or 6 months after having him being at home, we had that discussion, because I was like, oh, maybe it's time for me to go back to work, blah, blah, blah. But he encouraged the idea of really pushing Tasha to teach Spanish. So I did. And the first year was, those normal headaches. But I'm rambling and talking too much, so I'm sure you're going to ask that a bit later. But that's about me. I'll end it now. That's me.
Well, I love that you just threw something out there, because so many people will get hung up in, I've got to have the website ready, and I've got to have this, and I've got to have perfect graphics and all of that. And I love you're like, I put an ugly flyer out there and got 200 people that responded in some way. And I think that's one of the things that pull for perfectionism is one of those big things that stops so many people. It's like, I don't know how to do this, and so until I know all of it, I'm not going to even start. And I love that you just jumped in. Let me just throw something out there and see what happens.
Like now I have this shirt, which I think looks pretty nice. It looks pretty professional. Yeah. I started with a very ugly brown shirt with a huge logo on the front of my chest. It just, I didn't realize certain things were best, as a professional. Right. So I was just happy to have the shirt, and I had those, and the picture was starting to fade. I had those for probably 6 months, for a long time. So yeah, about the perfectionism, I didn't focus on that.
Well, you are a step way ahead of so many other people on that one. I know one of the things that what my business coach says is like messy action. Like, don't worry until you get it perfect. Just put it out there. You can keep tweaking and keep tweaking. Just get something out there and get started. See if somebody even wants it before you build so much of it and spend, months trying to build it. And then you find out, oh, nobody really wanted that. So I think that's perfect. That's actually the perfect way to go about it. So since you just kind of threw it out there, I think my next question is answered. Like, you didn't really have an ideal customer in mind. You didn't have that ideal client, just like, what age group or any of that. It was just, who needs some help? How did that evolve over time, though? Because I know you do have a pretty good idea of who you want to teach at this point. So how did that evolve?
So for a small amount of time, I received some online business coaching from a coach I just said that, online business coach, named August Crenshaw. And I believe she's in, St. Louis, Atlanta. I don't even know where she is, isn't that something? But she talked about that. I hadn't even thought about that. But your IC, your ideal client. And I remember when I first met you, you mentioned that. Right. And so in talking to you about the ideal client, I went back to her and I said, oh, I just met somebody recently who mentioned, talked about it as well. So prior to her, I had no idea that was an important thing. I was doing what probably many entrepreneurs do, which is casting the net wide. Because for me, whosoever will, let them come. An adult, you want a private lesson, 3 adults, we'll do a group lesson. You're 3 years old, come on. Everybody. Money, 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 money. Come on. But
and I think there's something valid. There is something valid to that, especially like when you're just getting started. Sometimes that's what you need. I'll work with whoever right now, and then so sometimes it is just an evolution. And so a lot of people don't go straight into business knowing this is who I want to work with. But I think
I did not. But through the coaching.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, most people don't. Or they have maybe a little idea, but they're too afraid to narrow it down because they're like, but there's so much potential. Everybody needs it, right?
In so many words, this is how August explained it to me, or us. I think we were like in a group session. With Coca-Cola or Pepsi. No, with Pepsi, they started with a regular Pepsi, and they pushed Pepsi by itself for, I don't know, decades. Then all of a sudden they released cherry Pepsi. After years of perfecting the marketing and the craft and blah, blah, blah. So that really spoke to me. Originally, I guess all the soda brands just had that soda. There was just Coke. There wasn't Coke Zero, Coke, So that analogy is what, folk do well in one area with one group. And then as you grow and as your mindset grows and you need some help, so as your help grows, you can do some other products.
Exactly. So I know with what you do, are you still teaching in that group setting? When we first met, you were looking for a space to meet, in smaller groups of kids. So you're still meeting in that way in groups?
Yes, so I have a small children's class now of just 3.
Hmm.
And I am planning 2 group classes, one for spring break and one for it's some spring break camp and a summer break camp, excuse me. But other than that, I have individual clients, and I still will see adults because right now I mostly work with children, so I still will
Hmm.
see an adult. But who am I targeting? Who am I reaching out to? Who am I marketing to? Is really the parent of the child. So.
Right, right. And that leads into my next question, because you are in a unique position where the clients you're actually working with are mostly kids, but you have to actually speak to the adults to get them in the door.
Correct.
And so in a lot of businesses, you're talking directly to the customer you're going to be working with, and having your all of your posts are directed towards them, and any kind of other advertising. But for you and what you do, your posts are directed to the person holding the checkbook, but not the person you actually are going to be working with. And
Yes,
so have
ma'am.
you found it difficult, or what challenges have you come across in trying to appeal to the right people? Because it might be when in that high school age, you may be, trying to reach out directly to them,
Mm.
but
Okay.
probably still mostly the parent. So
Mm-hmm.
how does that work, and how has that been, any challenges that you've seen in that?
That's a really good question. I'll start with the challenge of it is that sometimes the parent may want it, but the child's not interested. So you have the child and they're in the class or the session with you, and they're not doing as well because hey, I didn't want this. Mommy wanted me to want it. That hasn't happened a lot, but it can happen. And it has. So that's the biggest challenge. Also, though, the parent not realizing that, hey, yes, I'm teaching your child, but I'm giving you homework, so you still have to play a part in this. So it's not just the child. I mean, I don't know about other activities like I guess football and dance, but even then, I think some parents go home and practice with their children. I guess I'm new to this parenting thing, so to me, just like it happens in those cases, it's the same here, or even homework for school, right? So yes, Tasha's coming to teach a child, and then the parent will say, you know what, no, I don't know Spanish, which is something I did have to develop. I now add like a parent guide or a video to the parent or an audio clip of what they need to say, what they need to do to help. Because that's true. A lot of parents don't know, know Spanish. But ultimately, just making sure parents realize, yes, I'm teaching them, but I'm still giving you what you need so they can go home and because they still need it through the week. So those really have been the biggest challenges. But as far as how I market, more so just speaking to the parent on, hey, your child's future. Hey, don't you see in your job right now you can make more money? So what do you think is going to be the case for your child? For the example, when we rolled out spring break, which is really like this weekend, I'll be promoting that really heavy because we just secured the spot recently. But it's, hey, what are you gonna do with your children for spring break? Where are they going? Why not immerse them in a language for a week? Things like that. So more so looking at, hey, how do you want your child's future to look based on what you see now?
That's very good. And I think the way that you're doing that future looking, how it's going to benefit them in the future, I think is really key as well. I think that makes a lot of sense. Because I know my daughter, through elementary school, she had Spanish, but she can't speak any. but but it was 30 minutes once a week, and you're not going
Yeah,
to pick up
that's
tons
not
in
it.
that.
I spoke at a school this week, and they only allotted 20.
Oh,
And
wow.
they split the time between 20 minutes of Spanish, 20 minutes of outdoor time. And so to me, that even shows, I let me be clear, I applaud elementary schools for even presenting the idea. But to me, if
Right.
you're going to present it as though you care. Because when you only give 20 or 30 minutes to something, to me, it's like you're saying, I'm just throwing it in there. It really doesn't matter. You're not giving it the same amount of time as other topics. So why even add it if you're not going to add it all the way?
Right.
Because that doesn't give the teacher even time enough to really get a good lesson in. You're warming up 20 minutes in. So yeah, I get it. I get it.
So I know in one of the groups that we're into, one of the Facebook groups that we're in together, it's a women's networking group
Mm-hmm.
locally here in Arkansas. You had recently asked for recommendations to the group on how to scale your business from your current model, which is more one-on-one at the moment, so that you can teach more people. And like, how could you get that out there more? So can you explain more about what you're looking for in that? What does it look like to you, what that future looks like?
Okay, so I got some great advice in that post or that chat. And one thing I never thought about that I got from that post was an online program where I pre-recorded, I put up the modules. My husband said, "Well, I told you that, but look, it just didn't sound the same, I guess." So I don't remember it coming across that way, but. And so that blew my mind. Like, I've definitely never seen my business in that light, but in order to give a high number of people what they need, that would be ideal. So I definitely see that. And I'm not going to make it a 2020 goal because 2020 already has a lot. Because 2020 goals are the spring break and summer camp. And then this is something else that my future looks like, in answering your question, having more products versus just the service. So 2020 includes making the first pack of Spanish flashcards. 2020 includes the beginning of a children's book. I'm speaking now with people I know, who are authors or illustrators, trying to get my ideas rolling, and then we'll roll out the actual actions. So that's what 2020 will encompass, with the future of me being able to take everybody that I want in is an online module.
I think that's fantastic. And I love the vision that you have, even just for this year. I mean, to start creating those other products that will help you expand with what you're already doing. Plus, a book, get your name out there a lot differently. And I think that's amazing. That's one of the things in my coaching business that I realized, like, to have more impact, I've got to go ahead and do online courses and putting together the course, and then having the option where, okay, you can do it by yourself, and you're going to get a lot out of it if you just take the course by yourself, but then having the option where you've got the course plus some private coaching so that I can help you get over any roadblocks that you have. And so that's one of the things that, there's tons of options out there, as far as being able to deliver the course, and then also other ways where you can get feedback, whether it's, like using apps like WhatsApp or Voxer or something like that, where they can kind of turn their homework into you, like, okay, let me speak this into here, and that way you can listen to it and give them feedback in the same way, just over audio. And so there's lots of options.
What you said, Voxer?
There's one called Voxer, which is kind of like a walkie-talkie app. And so a lot of coaches have started using that, as you leave, it's kind of like doing a voice message on text, but it's all within an app, so they can go and listen to what your question is, and respond via voice. WhatsApp is the same, but there's video involved. And so
well, that's going to be important for me, because in Espanol, how they pronounce stuff matters. So that's ideal. Thank you so much. Gracias.
Anything else that you wanted to cover before I wrap up? Let me ask you that.
No, ma'am. I just really appreciate you, and thank you for giving me your time and the idea of the interview. So definitely, I encourage anyone out there to have your child learn a second language. It doesn't even have to be Spanish. I'm not going to be greedy, but as globally connected as our country, our world has been, and is now, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to go anywhere. So it's imperative that your child learn another language, because not every other country, but most other countries are on it, right? Other countries have had their children learning English since, I don't know, the 60s, 70s, 80s. You're in this school, like that was a mandated thing from kindergarten up. Not saying they have kindergarten, but from 5 up. But now the U.S., maybe the past, 10, 20 years, I won't say right now, but past decade or so, now we're interested. Now we want our children to learn, and we're still figuring out what age is good, how much time. But anyway, so the U.S. is behind on that, but that doesn't mean you have to be. That doesn't mean your child has to be. So get them in some kind of program that has them learning another language. That's about it.
Yeah, very good. Well, I have one final question for you.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
That final question, that I like to ask all of my guests is, what does it mean to you to let God lead in your life and in your business?
It definitely doesn't mean that you won't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Throughout my life of listening to different ministers and ministries, a summarization of what they say is pretty much, you take one step and God will take the rest. So it definitely does not mean, I guess I'm going with it, it doesn't mean at first. It doesn't mean you can just lay in bed all day and do nothing and just put a Facebook post up and all the clients are going to come in, la, la, la. No, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Um, but what it does mean is that if you do what you're supposed to do, you go with the divine thoughts that you're given, because that's how it started. Like I said, a divine thought of putting a Facebook post up. Throughout life, bit by bit, you will receive confirmation if it's for you or not. And encouragement from others, support will come. Those things, it just take some time. But if you do what you're supposed to do, it will be met. You'll be met halfway.
Yeah,
Or
I
maybe
think
even
that's
more than
fantastic.
halfway sometimes.
Right. He could, he surprises me often. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love that. Well, how can we connect with you best?
Okay, so Facebook is ideal. I reply in my messenger frequently. So Facebook.com, what is it? Facebook.com/TT Spanish. Sounds like Auntie TT Spanish. Um, I'm not really on Instagram like that, but we do have a page, tasha.teaches.spanish on Instagram. I can be called at 870-949-9566 and emailed at tashateachesspanish, 2 S's, at gmail.com. So I can be reached in all those ways, but I seem to respond more quickly to Facebook. And once again, we're having a spring break camp March 23rd through the 26th, and the summer break camp is TBA or TBD. That's it.
I think that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing just how your business started and where you are today and even your dreams of the future. And I just wish you all the luck and blessings. Luck, no, I wish you all the blessings.
Muchísimas gracias.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you got to meet Tasha. She is such a sweet, sweet lady. And if you are in need of Spanish tutoring, she is in the Little Rock, Arkansas area. So if you're not here in the Little Rock metro area, I do apologize that I got your hopes up. But hopefully within the next couple of years, she will get her courses online. I think that's a fantastic way to deliver our expertise and to deliver the knowledge that we have and to teach others and to be able to reach so many more people than you ever could one-on-one or just locally. And I think I love her heart. I'm so excited. I'm going to be watching out for when that children's book gets published, and hopefully I can keep track of that and be able to notify you of that, because I think that's really neat. If you have any suggestions of someone you'd like to see interviewed here, please send me the suggestion. I would love to follow up with them and see if they'd be interested. You can just send an email to admin@empoweredcreativitycoach.com with the subject guest speaker. And I really love interviewing women and hearing about their businesses. It's just so encouraging to me to see how they have come so far, to hear their stories. And I hope that it encourages you too. If you've got that dream inside of you, you've got that desire inside of you, and you have no idea where to begin, you're not quite sure, join me in Uniquely You Branding for Women. It's a free Facebook group where these videos get shown. I do all kinds of teaching about how to identify your niche and do your branding, but I'm also going into all stages of business and how to get started. There's so much there and so much possibility. So go join the Facebook group. It's free. Uniquely You Branding for Women. And I'll definitely make sure that there's a link with this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.